she was just on the second floor, locked the door, went to sleep, and then, or, hid in the closet, did whatever she could to survive, which amazing for them because they did survive.
They're very lucky.
So
They're
lucky.
very lucky.
Why would he pass her up? I think he had tunnel vision. He went in there trying to do something and knew that there may be obstacles in the way, and maybe 2 of the 4 were obstacles, but we don't know which 2 of the 4 were obstacles because 2 and 2 were together at that point.
Yeah.
But
better he was exhausted and just done.
Right. But then if she did go down to the first floor, blood was seeping through the floorboards.
I don't think that happened instantly, though. That probably took multiple hours for that to occur.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's highly likely that they had no indication to believe, maybe they believed their house was being robbed, or I don't think that they necessarily had any indication that their 4 roommates were literally murdered, because that's worst case scenario. Nobody is going to think that.
Or call the police because you're like, maybe I'm being dramatic.
Right. And I'm going to tell you, like, I have personally been in situations before where I have been like, should I call the police? Should I not? I don't know what to do. Should I call? Like, what do I need to do? Do I need to intervene? And it is a very paralyzing feeling.
Yeah. I so feel that. But also, on the other hand, when they woke up, they did say they tried to awaken the roommates, and around 11 o'clock the next day. So almost 7 hours, I think, after it happened, tried to awaken them. They didn't awaken, so they called friends. By 11:57, they decided to call police.
As we know, K and M were found in one room, and then there was a lot of false information spread about E, that he was in the hallway, that he was in the kitchen. That's not true. He was in the bedroom with X. That's where he was found. They were found together. It is possible that Burger Boy locked both doors when he left. It's possible. And they couldn't get in. I mean, seriously. And that could be why they're like looking under the door, banging on the door. Nobody's waking up. They had this traumatic experience the night before.
Texting them.
Yep, D and B knows something is off, especially D, because she heard things that she was not sure about. She saw someone unidentified in the house that gave her the creeps. She wasn't sure. And we don't even know, like, everybody's speculating so much. She said she heard some whimpers.
I mean, people fight.
It's not exactly. It's not like she's saying, oh, I heard really loud screams and people fighting for their life. She said, I heard some whispering and a sentence and some whispers. So honestly, that to me, like, if it were me, I wouldn't necessarily hear those things and be like, oh my gosh, 911. So I totally do understand why she might not have called. And if he did shut and lock those doors behind him, that would explain why they weren't just like walking around in this crime scene and going, oh, let's call our friends. They probably didn't see the magnitude of it. They probably had no idea what really happened. But Dee was probably like, something is off. Like, I heard this. I saw this guy. Something's not right. Here's the other thing that I think about sometimes. I don't know how sick Burger Boy was, but I have thought before, maybe he did see Dee when she opened the door, or already had awareness of them both being there.
Yeah.
But he wanted them to find them.
1000%. I so agree. I think he left little clues here and there.
Well, and, like, I just mean like as the ultimate torture.
Yeah. He thought, haha, look what I did to your friends.
Literally.
And I think that he thought he was smarter than the system. I would not be surprised if the knife sheath that he left under Maddie's body was a knife that didn't even correlate.
Possible.
He could have so easily left that knife sheath with his print on it to say, yeah, you found my DNA on that knife sheath, but that wasn't the size of the knife that was even used in the first place. So how are you going to put it against me now?
That'd be so weird, because I'm like, what game are you playing if that was really your plan, to purposefully ditch this knife sheath? I personally think that...
I hope he's stupid.
I think he was stupid and he unintentionally left it there, and it is the knife sheath. You don't have to have a big giant knife to do a lot of damage. The skin is only so deep.
They found one very tight fitted glove in his apartment, but they found one big glove outside of where the quadruple homicide happened. Both those gloves don't match whatsoever. They're not the same glove. But I'm saying, what if he double gloved up? Because if you wear these big gloves trying to open up a door, you can't do that. Trying to text on your phone or trying to look up directions, you can't do that with these huge snow gloves. But if you wear a tight fitted glove that they use in like field testing or what you use in the hospital, whatever, you basically need that glove to feel like your own fingers. So he used that to open up the door, went and put in these big gloves, and then did the unthinkable, walking out, tried to take the smaller gloves back off, and maybe one of the big gloves got lost, and that's why it was on the side. It was not fully debunked. It was not.
Yeah.
You know, so what if he double gloved up?
Maybe.
I mean, I think he was very calculated. I really do.
Oh, yeah, to a degree. But he obviously had planned it for a long time. And I don't know what this is that's coming out about him supposedly messaging one of the victims quite a few times. This hasn't been debunked either. It's just kind of out there. You know, how calculated was he? Was this months and months and months in the making?
And what is so weird is that Kaylee's dad said he's been living out there for a year. Well, we didn't know he was living out there for a year. We just knew he was living there since June.
Oh.
And that could be a whole nother reasoning behind the, okay, everybody shut the F up gag order. But how do we know? And then he had his dad come in. Yeah, right. How much more could come out before then?
Well, probably nothing now. And I'm sure Kay's dad, in his numerous interviews, which God bless him, honestly, I feel for him. And
I would not fuck with him.
Hell no. I feel like I would do what he did too. Really, people really badmouth him for that, but I'm like, you know what? You kill my child, I'm gonna go fucking feral publicly. Feral.
I genuinely believe that they had that body armor on Burger Boy.
Oh, yeah.
In Pennsylvania because of Steve.
Yeah.
Because I think Steve would F him up. Like if he had the chance, done deal.
That's the thing that does annoy me about some of the people, especially on Reddit, who are like, he's talking too much. I've read so many things. You lose a child. You have a child brutally murdered. And then you can get a say. Then you can tell people how you would act and react and how you would treat the media. Because you know what? Honestly, and this is just my opinion.
At first, I'm like, damn, he might be fucking up this case. And I'm like, no, he is.
I don't think he is.
He is helping this case.
And I told this to Tony. I was like, you know, if something happens to me, please know that I would rather have the billions of people on this planet collectively knowing about me and working in my favor than a small law enforcement agency.
All the eyes are on Moscow Police Department.
Well, and I do think they did a great job. I do think that they did. I had doubts in the beginning just because they would say so much in the press conferences and so little at the same time. And it was almost like, are you trying to bait the media? Like, is that what you're doing? Because if you don't want to talk, then stop talking. You're saying a whole lot of nothing, and you're just pissing off everybody who's curious or interested in the case.
You could tell people you cleared them. Just because you're cleared doesn't mean you're cleared. Right. So everybody cleared, like, sure, this person's cleared, that person's cleared. That doesn't mean they're cleared for forever.
The only problem with it is you can't lie to the media and then turn around and get mad at the media for running with your lies. Like that. They're playing off of what you are saying. And then they come out and they're like, the media needs to shut up. The media's saying too much. They're going off of what you said.
You fucking lied about it.
I have never,
how are you going to be so pissed about that?
Thank you. And I have never, and I know you and I both are like true crime fanatic. I was I was raised in a true crime household. I've always had a fascination with it. And I have never, ever seen a case where the police acted like that.
You and I have never covered a case that the media was like, okay, shut the F up. Out of every case that we have covered on YouTube, on friggin' Spotify, all of our major podcasting platforms, when have we ever covered a case where they were like, y'all need to shut up?
No.
Ever.
Lauren Smith Fields, because she's a Black woman and they quite honestly didn't give a fuck about her.
Yep.
And anybody who's ever dove into her case knows that she was murdered.
100%.
She was murdered.
And they tried to write it off.
That's the only other time, but it's a different situation where I've seen the police be like, no, shh. No, let's talk about it.
And there's so many connections that you could say. And you know what? It's still hush hush.
We digress. Burger Boy's a piece of shit.
Yep.
I think that's the moral of the story here. I do not think in a million years that he is going to be found innocent. However, I will say I said the same thing about Casey Anthony.
Me too.
And watched that ruling live and wanted to vomit. So you never know. He might have a really good defense team. I think it's pretty.
I mean, his defense attorney is a piece of fucking work.
I know. I've been doing a little bit of research on her.
She's something piece of work. I could never do that as a job.
I could be a defense attorney if I genuinely believed my client was.
But you couldn't.
Innocent. And maybe she does believe he is. Maybe she does. Maybe she's like, oh my God, no, you're great.
God, he looked at her, he turned to her and goes, and I will not get that picture out of my brain. The defense attorneys can't choose, who they represent. And honestly, I could never represent this piece of shit. I couldn't.
It's just, to me, it's obvious. Like it's in the eyes, the Ted Bundy eyes, the Sandy Hook shooter, his eyes, like they're all the same. They're null and void of a soul. No, they're the same. Like look up the Sandy Hook shooter, compare him to Ted Bundy and to Burger Boy. The eyes, it is the same. It is the creepiest thing ever. But let's close this and move on to Ana Walshe. So a lot has come out now about the Ana Walshe case. She has still not been found. However, her husband, Brian, has been charged with her murder. He was charged with beating her to death and then dismembering her body. He was seen on surveillance footage tossing heavy bags into dumpsters, some of them by his mother's house. And then there's his infamous Google search history, which
stupid. And you guys, we're not laughing at that.
No, it's horrible what happened. It's awful. It's horrible.
We're laughing at about how dumb of a MFer this guy can actually be.
Stupid. The Google searches were like, I couldn't even believe it. Like when they were reading those off. I mean, what the hell is wrong with him?
No, a lot. Number one. Number two, this must have been a spur of the moment thing.
I don't know.
Spur of the moment on how to get away with it. He
literally Google searched like a BuzzFeed Google search. How it's so stupid. Like I cannot.
He's so dumb. He's so dumb.
He Googled how to dismember a body if you really need to.
And he was like, how can you throw away body parts?
Yeah.
In the trash? Does he not look like that guy from 90 Day Fiancé though? Like I was telling you on the phone. Okay. Ew, he's on my phone, look.
He's fucking gross. He was seen on surveillance footage heaving like various heavy bags into dumpsters. They said that everything inside of the dumpsters had already been destroyed. So they will never be able to retrieve her, but they're very certain that he murdered her based on his infamous now Google search history.
And he went to the hardware store and was buying like cleaning supplies and like tarps and
Cleaning
bullshit.
supplies, tarps, trash bags, everything.
Mhm.
And then got on his son's iPad the morning of, or the morning after, I guess, and made some of the stupidest,
Dumbest. I will
dumbest
read
Google
through
searches in
them.
history.
If you were doing that, wouldn't you actually think, okay,
The police are going to look through my shit, like they're going to know. But he thought, oh, if I do it on my son's
not
iPad,
not through
they'll
my
never
son's
suspect
iPad.
my son.
Maybe they'll think my son did it.
Freaking moron.
Idiot. He said, how to stop a body from decomposing. How long before a body starts to smell?
Like, that's the least of
Mm,
your worries, bro.
really? How long before a body starts to smell?
Idiot. Stupid.
Then he said, how to bound a body. What does that even mean?
I know. I don't understand that one either. Like, what is he? He obviously had plans before he dismembered her. He was just like desperate trying to figure out how to get rid of it.
Then he said, 10 ways to dispose of a dead body if you really need to.
I can't with that one. Literally, like,
If you really need
if
to,
you really need, and I
guys,
need 10 ways, 10 ways. Like BuzzFeed had released that
10.
article already and he was looking for it. Like, are you fucking kidding me?
You stupid fuck. And we're not laughing at the situation. We're laughing at how
No,
dumb of a mother F
he
this mother
is
F is.
the dumbest criminal alive.
Actually, like,
Mm-hmm.
actually. But let me search it on my son's iPad because maybe
Yes.
they won't be able to like figure it out it's me. Right?
He
Then,
can't.
how long for someone to be missing to inherit? Okay, so did you take out some sort of life insurance policies?
I figured that he did. So before that even happened, before the Google searches were even announced, I had already
Mhm.
said, guarantee you she was going to divorce him. He was facing that felony charge for selling those fake Andy Warhol pictures, probably murdered her so he could get the inheritance, so he could pay off his fine and try not to be the shitty fucking piece of shit that he was.
The fact that you're thinking about money.
Well, and she was more successful than him. She was a very successful woman.
Right.
She was an independent boss of a woman.
Intimidated as fuck
And
is
why
what
she
he
made,
was.
she was literally a 10. And he, like you said, looks like the guy from 90 Day Fiance.
He does. He literally looks like the guy from 90 Day Fiance.
He does look like him.
Then he said, can you throw away body parts?
Which is like, sure. Google says, yeah. Like, what are you
Let me
looking
Google it.
for?
Let me like search it up real quick. The fuck?
Because that's normal. That's a normal everyday Google search. Just like 10 ways.
10 ways. Are you dumb or are you stupid?
Oh, God.
Then he said,
God.
what does formaldehyde do?
He just had that on hand.
What? Formaldehyde?
He's a maniac.
Was he trying to preserve the body?
Yeah. Well, I think that he was thinking about it because that was one of his Google searches was like how to prevent a body from decomposing.
Ooh.
Well, the best way to do that is not fucking killing them.
Yep.
I'm,
Fuck,
I'm like,
man.
I'm so over these men, like
Me too.
killing their spouses
The
because their
Bryans.
fragile little egos can't handle that the spouses can do better and move on.
Exactly. And then he said, can identification be made on partial remains?
Like, no fucking duh.
Uh, have you not watched a singular true crime anything? Do you not understand how they're able to take DNA from one of us with Ancestry DNA or 23andMe or anything like that? By the way, not sponsored. If y'all want to sponsor us, shoot an email.
23.
DNA basically lasts forever. More than a lifetime.
Mm-hmm. He's an idiot. He deserves to rot in jail. I hope he does.
Then he
That's the
said
scoop.
he Google searched dismemberment and the best ways to dispose of a body.
He really didn't think any of these Google searches alone would be flagged.
No, because it was on his son's. I'm sorry. Stupid.
He is dumb. And I'm
Like,
glad
that's
he
so
got
dumb.
caught. I'm so glad he got caught because
How
he
to clean
is
blood
such a
from a
loser.
wooden floor.
Yeah, he's so busted. And his face in the video of her
He's like,
reading the Google, he really did look like a 5-year-old who got caught smearing his own shit all over the walls or something. He was just
yes.
like, oh, I busted. I can't
Shout out
believe.
to Embassy 10 Boston for that. Um, luminol to detect blood.
Yeah.
Yeah. What happens when you put body parts in ammonia? Is it better to throw crime scene clothes away or wash them?
He should have just turned himself in. I mean,
Is that real? Like,
he
actually.
he really, yes, he made those searches. So yeah, that's what's new on the Anna Walsh case. He's going to go to jail, rightfully so. They're probably never going to
Mhm.
find her, which is so sad for her family
Sick.
and obviously for her children.
Yep.
He's a big piece of shit. And
But at least they won't be in his hands, the kids.
thank God. I don't know how he landed her in the first place,
Me neither.
but
Old,
yes.
old triflingness.
Hmm.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
All
Yep.
right, you guys, we'll be back this week with a lot more coming forth, and we are so appreciative of you guys watching. But we love you guys.
Bye.